Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what we did to scale past 12K a month Plateau, because this situation recently happened with one of our new clients that we signed at the end of May. And in this video, I'm going to cover exactly what we did to fix that and ultimately make $28,000 a month with him just 2 months after starting. And by the way, this situation is really similar to the situation that we had with our client Marcel, because the video with this client will be released probably next month, so stay tuned. Okay, so this was his situation, right? He was stuck at $9,000 to $12,000 a month for 3 months, right? That means that he was stuck March 12K, April 9K, May 12K. Right? So as you can see, he really plateaued at there. The main reason is because he was overwhelmed by doing everything by himself. He was just a one-person business with a VA on the side. On top of that, he was selling a high-ticket hybrid offer, right? So an info with a service. So if that sounds like you, make sure that you definitely watch this video to the end, because it's gonna be super valuable and you can actually literally copy and paste everything for your own business. Trust me on that. So we literally just did those 3 things. So let me break them down for you. First of all, more precise hooks. His problem, poor quality of leads. Reason, bad profile, bad ad creatives. Solution, improved profile, better ad creatives. So if you kind of think about it, when you used to launch like a normal VSL funnel where you take people, right, from an ad straight up to a landing page, right, you would spend hours and thousands of dollars making sure that the headline on the landing page, the video inside of it, all the case studies, and the whole look and feel of this website would be amazing, because you know how important it is, right? So if we think right now, the profile, visit, ad, funnel, right? What is the landing page? Of course, the landing page is your profile. And here is how to optimize it. First of all, the profile picture, right? So the profile picture is incredibly important. And what I would advise is just a clear picture with a nice background, smiling or maybe not smiling, depending on your niche. But that's when it comes to the profile picture. Super simple stuff. Now, when it comes to your name, right? So the actual handle, I would just use your own name. Not, for example, a financial coach, fitness coach, nothing like that. Definitely don't put it right here, okay? Just your name, maybe your company name. Now, when it comes to this name that you have right here, this is where you can put something like this, right? So you say name, you can do like a bracket, and then your profession. So for example, John Smith, personal trainer. Now the bio, super important stuff. The bio, as we know, has 3 lines, and let me tell you about them. The first one is your biggest achievement, aka why they should listen to you. For example, I generated X amount of money, I helped X amount of people, you get the idea. Second line, what you are doing right now. So what they can expect from you. For example, now I help people do X in Y amount of time. So basically what you have. And the last line is a call to action. So for example, DM me the word X or click the link in my bio. And now, really, really important, link in your bio. So the old way of doing things like 1-2 years ago was to have like a link tree in it with a bunch of links. But what it does is just, it creates so much friction that it's literally kind of impossible for people to actually click the link that you would like them to click. So the new approach is just having a deep link, okay? A deep link, and there's like so many free websites. So a deep link to your VSL, okay? And it can be on YouTube. And it works super well. So this is how you do that. And the last part of your profile, let's say, are your highlights. So what to do with your highlights? Again, super simple. Proof, client testimonials, client screenshots, anything like that, client wins, amazing. Second, your story. Basically explain what you went through to actually be in the position that you are in right now. And the last one, I would use either a Q&A or just life. What I mean by just life is just like photos of you living your life. So basically, if you think about it, this is proof, this is credibility, and this is connection. And this is how you create a great landing page, which is your profile. So improved profile, done. Now, better ad creatives. Problem that this client had was his ads were not precise enough. And what I mean by that for you, how can I explain that to you is, so for example, if you want to lose weight, if you want to make money, super broad. Like everyone wants to probably lose weight, everyone wants to make money, right? Doesn't really qualify any people that you actually want to work with. And now there are two ways of approaching that. If you are in a niche where there is not a lot of competition, it's not oversaturated, you can start with, right? So if you're X, struggling with Y, and you want Z. So for example, if you're a mom, struggling with losing weight and you want to have a six-pack, let's say, without counting calories, then keep watching. See, much better than if you want to lose weight. So this is what you can do if you are in a unsaturated niche. For example, fitness and nutrition is quite saturated, so I wouldn't use it there. And now when it comes to what to use in saturated niches, this is what you use. You start with a problem, okay? So right here is a problem stage. Keep watching. Okay, let me decode that for you. So a problem, let me literally show you the ad that you would click that if you are watching this video, right? So you plateaued at 10K a month and you are selling high ticket. You would definitely keep watching that ad because it literally, if you are this person, right? If you plateaued at 10K a month and you are selling high ticket, then I literally like called you, right? Like you are this person, you would definitely keep watching that. And so this is what I would use as a hook when you are in a saturated niche. And this is exactly what we did with this client, okay? So improving ad creatives just made sure that there are actually better people coming through, and the improved profile made sure that they actually stick and they follow you and we can start talking to them. So this is what we did as a first thing. Now the second thing that I kind of teased already is taking over setting, because the problem, not enough time to do everything and anything, reason spending hours in DMs, and a solution deploying a trained setter. So again, if you think about it, right, when you are a founder, right, let's say you are a founder, this is you, smiley face, you want to only take cover of the highest leverage, right? So what that would be for someone who is doing around $12,000 a month with his offer, that would be shooting content, right? Because at this stage, AI is not good enough to do that for you. So for now, shooting content, probably at this stage, taking sales calls and making sure that clients are happy, so you can have more and more good testimonials, clients' results, so you can then use them for ads, branding, marketing, anything else. So this is the highest leverage things. And if you kind of think what are the lowest leverage activities, is definitely setting, editing, data tracking. Why? Because everyone can do that, right? And you shouldn't be spending hours here, here, and here. And especially in setting, right? Because setting is such a repetitive thing. And most founders aren't even good at that. Because it takes a very specific personality to actually be good at setting. And there is one huge benefit from having an actual trained setter instead of setting yourself. And this is that a setter can look objectively at your business. What it means is that if someone asks like a very specific, maybe sometimes offensive question, you will be emotionally connected to this, but a setter, the only job of a setter is to take leads coming through and then with this magic right here, turn them into a sales call. Let's say this is like a phone, it's like a, I don't know, like an iPhone, right? And turn them into sales calls for you. And this is the only thing that they need to do. And that means that if you are not objective right here, when you are trying to do that, you will have trouble actually sticking to good numbers. And the other thing is that a setter can be much faster, right? So there is speed. And as we know, speed in business is absolute key. And there was actually a study when they compared texting a lead within 5 minutes, right? So 5 minutes or less, or texting 1 hour or more. And what they found, right, is that texting lead 5 minutes in comparison to 1 hour, 15x the response rate. Think about it for a second. Is there anything else in your whole business that has the ability to 15x the entire enterprise? It's not 15%, it's not 50%, it's not even 200%. It's 1.500% of a difference between just this super simple and easy to execute thing when a setter needs to contact a lead within 5 minutes. And why a setter will do that better than you? Because of course he doesn't have all other important stuff to take over like you, like sales calls, fulfilling clients. His only job is to make sure that you get the most calls because he's getting paid like that. He's getting paid per result. And of course a setter then will make sure to actually fill out, okay, all of those metrics right here until the calls, because of course this is something that you would fill out, but as you can see, the amount of data that is needed to fill out right here is much different than the amount of data that needs to be right here, right? And this is the key, right? Because how you can actually scale your business if you're in the trenches doing all of those things that you should just delegate to someone who is probably better than you at them, but also just doesn't have all of those different things to do to execute, and because of that he can do the job much faster than you, which is usually by default better. So as I said, the first thing was more precise hook to improve the profile and get better at creatives. The second was taking care of the setting, deploying a trained setter that was tracking data, replying to leads faster, and making sure that everything runs smoothly there. And the third biggest thing was improving show up and close rate. So the problem before was bad sales metric, 50% show up rate, 10 to 20% close rate. Reason: no structure and system, and actually also not much experience in high ticket closing. And a solution: introduce new systems and a weekly sales training. So this is exactly what happened. And again, the bad sales metric, especially the show up rate, but also the close rate, can be attributed a little bit to the low quality of leads that he was getting, right? Because if you're on a sales call with a poor quality lead, you will probably not even state the offer, right? And if you stake, they probably are not qualified to actually go forward with it. So yeah, those metrics are probably skewed a little bit. And this is also why the first thing is so huge, so important. And this is why we started with it. Okay, but going back to it, how we actually solve those two problems. So let's start with the close rate maybe, right? So how we improve the close rate from, as you can see, let's call it 15% to what was 36%, right? So more than a double, like 120%, if my math is good, 120, something like that. How we actually managed to, right? So how 20%? Three things. First of all, getting a better sales script. And again, the point of a sales script is not to follow it because it will seem bad and the prospect will see that and that call will be terrible. But the reason to have a sales script is actually, I would say, for three reasons. So to make sure to frame the call right, to make sure to pitch right, and to have like a little Bible, right, of all the usual objections and how to handle them. Because after you do like 100, 200 calls in your niche, you know exactly what type of objections are 90% of the time, and you can just pre-handle them by having them written out again in some notes and making sure that they execute them correctly every single time. So creating a better sales script is a one-time investment in time, like it takes, I know, 1 day to do that, and it pays off big. Okay, the second thing was to roleplay, because in sales, in my opinion, when you're not doing something consistent, you are kind of losing the edge. What I mean by that is you need to be warmed up every single time. When someone, for example, goes for like a month somewhere to travel and then comes back, he doesn't kind of feel the game the same way. So that's why weekly. And again, on the roleplay calls, usually how it went is that the client would roleplay with a closer, me or my sales manager. So first of all, a roleplay. Then after the roleplay, right? So after he closed or didn't close, and usually we always kind of want to be harsh for them to make sure that they actually then perform good at a real sales call. So then we give them live feedback. And of course we talk kind of like for 15, 20 minutes about like what they could do better. And then after the call, after usually like 2 days, we will record like a Loom breakdown, okay? And usually those breakdowns are long, okay? So usually it will be anywhere from 30 to sometimes, to be honest, that will sound crazy, 90 minutes. Yeah, this is hard to do. And this is why it's so important. This is why you get so much alpha from it. Because no one does it, right? Who else will take 90 minutes to train someone weekly? And the last thing is making pricing. And what I mean by that is kind of two things. The first one is the way you present the price on a sales call. So the way that he was doing that, he was saying that this is $500 for this, 1,000 for this, $2,000 for this. You can already see what is happening. It creates so much confusion, friction, it's bad to do. So we just made sure that there is one offer and that he presents it like that. So on a sales call, he says, and this is a one-time investment of X. And he is quiet because that's how you present the offer, to make sure that there is not friction because of confusion. This is the worst part of friction, because you just confuse someone with all of those numbers, right? And they will list all of the benefits of every single, just the price delivery takes like 10 minutes. So do that instead. And the second thing was actually making the offer more expensive. Interesting, right? The client had 15% close rate and we are increasing the price. Why? Pretty simple. His offer was pretty good and it gave tremendously better results than the old prices of like $2,000 to $4,000. So we made it $7,000, just like that, $7,000, right? Quite a lot. And this is pretty important for two reasons, mostly because you can actually charge that because, okay, maybe we would close 45%, right? Maybe we would do that. But even though we kind of would do that, then what's the reason? Because if we can get to 35 but charge almost double, then of course we made so much more money. And we kind of thought about it for quite a while, right? It would take me a long time to kind of break down why we did that and getting into like the specific details. But this is something that most people would definitely benefit from. So yeah, those are the three things, right, that we did with this client to make sure that he actually breaks through the plateau and then scale him through 28K. And we are of course planning to do so much more than that. So if this is your situation and you want similar results, just DM me on Instagram and we'll have a conversation to see if we are a good fit. And if not, I wish you a good day. So take care.